Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house, and we're going to have a bit of fun here. We obviously have a bit of a down day today in the markets, obviously due to the Iran issue. So we'll tiptoe around that a little bit. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to smash the subscribe, hit the follow button as well, and of course share on X. Share the show on X. So share show on X. And this is the link here, so I'll post it in the chat in a minute. There we go. A little bit slow on the move today, but there we go. That is the show. So if you can just take a second to share that on X, that'd be great. We got Tyndale in the house there. Let's go pre-game. I like that pre-game. You're in the house already. Nice to see Tyndale here today, and definitely share the show around on X there. All right, we're going to get into it. So get into the chat there. Make it lively as always. We're going to kick it off because I hit a bit of a milestone today, which is kind of nice. So we'll talk about that first, I think. Let's go straight into it. So, we hit 800 followers, which is cool. So thanks to everybody for following the channel. As you guys know, I had to rebuild from zero after losing my large account that I had. It was pretty large. And so we're starting again, but heading back towards that first 1,000. It takes a bit of time, but we get there in the end, as they say. We get there in the end. So that was pretty cool. So thanks to everybody that followed. Very, very exciting as well. Now, if you guys haven't joined the Strategy Club, also links in the video description for that. It's only $35 a month, and of course, you get access to some pretty cool stuff. Strategy chats, of course, top 10 high performing index. You get access to the top 100x, top 1000x protocol intels. Of course, regular and daily intel drops, as well as monthly crypto reports. So definitely get in there on that. The link is in the video description. And maybe even Wookie will post his link in the chat. You just never know. So that is Strategy Club. Join up to date, and we'll see you in the house on Discord. All right, let's move on from there and get straight into the markets. We're going to talk about that. So let's get into the stock market. We've got Wookie in the house. Hey, Wookie, how you doing? Hit the likes, post it out. Let's go. Absolutely, Wookie. Appreciate that. Big shout out to you. All right, so the stock market, yesterday it was up real nice, right? And today it's down, obviously. S&P 500 falls on reports U.S. may join the conflict against Iran. We'll have to see what happens in that space. We've got the Dow Jones there is down 0.7%, 300 points to 42,215. Remember, that's like the top 30 industrials in the United States. S&P 500 is down 0.84%, 50 points to 5,982. And then the NASDAQ there is down 0.9%, 180 points to 19,521. The volatility index, the VIX as they call it, is up 13%. US dollar is sitting a little bit stronger than it was yesterday. I think we're at 97.8 or something, and they're at 98.4 today at the moment. So US dollar, they're strengthening a little bit. Now, going to the commodities, we see that West Texas is sitting at $73.57. That is up about 0.4%. Brent oil is actually down just slightly at $76.72, moving around a lot. Gold at the moment, 3,400, is pretty flat to slightly down. And, of course, silver there sitting pretty strong at $37 on silver. And, of course, we're expecting potentially that we may head towards, $75 or more dollars. Who knows? Some people are saying we're in the third wave of gold. You can decide. But I think, it's got a longer-term climb going on for gold and silver. So, we had Trump, obviously, he was at the G7. And, of course, he had to leave early. Trump mulling strikes against Iran and sign Israel-Iran conflict set to intensify. President Trump is mulling various options, including the potential U.S. strike against Iran after meeting with top advisors in the Situation Room at the White House on Tuesday. The Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday, citing unnamed administration officials. Always the unnamed officials, right? In a social media post Tuesday, President Donald Trump demanded that Iran agree an unconditional surrender. So really, Iran is kind of on its knees to some degree. And we'll talk a little bit about that, I guess. We now have complete and total control over the skies. Once you lose the skies, right, you are in big trouble, even if you've got a big land army. because they're going to blow the heck out of all your hard assets and just pick you off and force you to, they can send you in which direction they want. So apparently a lot of the IRG, I think it's the IRG, being forced from the borders because of so much stuff's getting blown up. Saying that we now have complete and total control over the skies of Iran. The US isn't directly involved, of course, in the conflict, but has supplied arms to Tel Aviv. And of course, Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, manufactured stuff, he said. Trump also chided Iran for not accepting an earlier nuclear deal. Of course, he gave them 60 days to make a deal, and they did not make that deal, and then Israel went in, basically. Trump has repeatedly stated that Iran will not be allowed to enrich any uranium, despite Tehran's claims that it has no plans to develop a nuclear weapon. Well, we know that's a complete lie. So anyone that falls for that is, so be it. That's what leads to carnage in the future. Trump departed the G7 gathering on Canada earlier, and of course, in a social media post said the departure had nothing to do with the ceasefire, and that it was instead related to something much bigger than that. He did not elaborate further. Prior to Trump's exit, G7 nations had issued a statement calling for an easing to the conflict, but placed their support behind Israel and described Iran as a source of instability in the Middle East. Now, this is the hilarious thing because these globalists are so happy to go to war on so many other places like Democrats, but of course, with terrorist Iran leadership, they let's make peace with these nut jobs, right? It's just hilarious. These guys are full of walking contradictions. Fed starts policy setting meeting, and this is a big deal, right? We want to get that interest rate cut. That could be very helpful indeed. And of course, comments from Chair Joe Powell said basically because we've got cooling inflation, and said that U.S. retail sales dropped more than expected in May. And of course, economists polled by Reuters had forecast retail sales, which are mostly goods and not adjusted for inflation, decreasing 0.7% up previously reported 0.1% gain in April. Donald Trump, of course, sweeping tariffs have raised fears over global growth. But of course, they've raked in, I don't know, something like, I think it was $70 billion, $80 billion, something. The Bank of Japan left interest rates unchanged. We're waiting to see what the Fed will do with those interest rates. It's very important that it does cut the interest rates because they're really too high. And, Fed's running out of make-believe, running out of make-believe. So we'll see what happens in that space in the stock market. That's going to lead us to crypto, of course. Before we get to that, though, we've got a few comments in the chat there from Wookie. Strategy Club. How about that? So join up today. Only $35 a month. Fantastic value on that. So there we go. There's Wookie's link. Or you can use the one in the video description. There we go. Right. So let's get into, let's get into the main stuff here. We've got, at the moment, we've got market cap of crypto down 4.9%. So, pretty significant. $3.368 trillion. Remember, these are 17,436 coins on CoinGecko. So just take note of that. And of course, that's down 4.9, almost 5%, basically. Bitcoin, which was doing very well, is still doing very well, but is down 1.8% at $104,490. Ethereum there is down 0.89%, holding up pretty well, actually, $2,508. We got XRP at number 4 is down 3%. $2.16. BNB, which had been performing pretty well, is down 0.2%, $647. Solana is down 1.4%, $147 at number 6. Number 8 is Tron. It is Tron there. It's moved up another spot, flipping Dogecoin, and that is down 0.6% at 27.2 cents. So actually, it's pretty stable there the last 24 hours. And then Dogecoin number 9 is down 0.7% at just under 17 cents. Finally, Lido there at number 10 is down 0.6% to $2,507. And of course, ADA got flipped, right? ADA got flipped there, down at number 11, down 2.3%. And we've got to kind of mention some of these other ones that are just slightly higher. Hyperliquid at 13, obviously been performing like a boss. And of course, PulseChain there having recovered from that, hack or whatever. That is down. They managed to only lose, $50-60 million rather than 280 million or something like that. So Bitcoin Cash is there as well. Who else have we got there in the top 20? Avalanche and Stellar and Chainlink there and Leo in the top 20 there. So let's have a look at the best performer in the last week because it's pretty red, as you can tell. It looks like the best performer is BNB, is it? Yeah, BNB only down 3.4% on the BNB there. Looking at the top 100, let's have a look at that. Best performer is White Bitcoin. That's performing well again at number 23 now, up 54% for the week. So that would have been a winner in the top 100. AB, which moved into the top 100, is up 37% for the week. And then Bitcoin Cash making a bit of a surprise move on weakness, up 6.4%, sitting at number 16, followed by Leah at number 17, up 3.8%. That is our top of 5, pretty much, with USD1 in there as well. So there we go, folks. Looking at the top gainers, we've got Interbeat up 295%, Useless Coin up 25%, and what's it, Wibegram up 22.6%. So let's go have a look at this Interbeat. It's up almost 300% overnight. It is ranked at number 265, so that's actually a pretty good ranking in the top 100 there. And it's only been around a little while here, 12th of June. So only looks like only about a week or something. And here we are on the 18th, 6 days later. It came off 6.5 cents, is up at 26 cents, $219 million market cap. So that's where it is at the moment. So what is this about? Not sure. Let's have a quick look at the website and see what Interbeat is about. So some music thing, is it? Interbeat EDM Festival. Okay, there we go. The center of the future of EBT. The coins shaping the future of entertainment. And apparently they got a little video on YouTube. So there we go. That is Interbeat. Seems some sort of entertainment, but they're putting a pretty healthy tag on there. I'm not sure what the latest news is, what's pumped that 300%, but certainly interesting, right? That's why we're checking it out. On trending, we've got Notcoin, Lambo, and OXO in-house, still trending there at the moment on CoinGecko. So that is pretty much where we are there. That's going to take us into looking at Bitcoin. Everyone loves a bit of Bitcoin. And of course, we're going to see that. We've got Fast Abdul in the chat there. Good to see you, Fast Abdul. He's here for the tech. So we've got Bitcoin here, looking pretty good still. I mean, come on. We've got obviously the Russia, Ukraine, and the Israel, Iran conflicts. Obviously, that is where we are with those geopolitical risks. So the markets is looking pretty good in the context of all those geopolitical risks. Here we are at $104,600, and we're above the 50-day. That's the yellow line for Bitcoin. And looking pretty good there at above 100K. That 100K is that green line there. We want that. And, of course, that's also the trade tariffs, right, the 10% window there. And we've got the 200 here as well. So we've got still in a golden cross, right? We averted a death cross back here in April, the 18th. And we are still moving forward pretty nicely. And we've got some, progress happening. Obviously, the tax bill's got some progress. I think there was a little concern around Medicare provision. So we'll see where that lands. But apart from that, I think the big tax bill is going forward quite nicely. And of course, the trade deals also moving forward as well. Now, Trump dropped yesterday that we've been talking about 115 countries. He's basically been talking about 100. He talked about 175 countries, but basically said, look, most of those trade deals are just going to be the president sending countries a letter saying, this is you can do, congratulations, you can do business with us. Here's the tariffs. Here's the price of entry. So that was pretty much it on the old Trump stuff there. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Not so funny for the countries paying, but that is basically indicating a bit of a premium for access to the United States. Now, as you guys know, fundamentally, the United States has got to wean itself off China. So it has got far too many essential items, both in civil life and military life, that are sourced out of China. And of course, the big scary thing, of course, is Taiwan, which produces most of the computer chip semiconductors in the world, right? Especially a lot of the advanced chips, something like 80-90%. So, anything that happened to Taiwan would be fundamental for modern society everywhere else, right? Including the fact that China controls most of the rare earths as well, a lot of the metals that go into a lot of modern electronics, right? So there's about 16 of those rare earths. So that's the other side. So you see how important it is for Trump to have made these moves, and of course why liberals and so forth, liberals and progressives have been sending the West down the Googler, right? Down the Googler there. Wookie says, is GoPulse down today? Yeah, I saw it was down today, so I don't know if I'll be talking about that today. It was down when I went and had a look, so yeah, not sure what's going on there. Looked pretty weird, though, pretty weird. All right, so yeah, here we are at the moment, $104,600, and so that's going to play. Now, deregulation and regulation obviously is a key theme. These are the part of the three strategies of Trump, the three-legged stool strategy, and we had big news today, so we're going to talk about that in a minute. Around on some regulation, and then of course also leverage, right? So they're going to be playing around with the small medium banks leverage, I believe, and so we could see that support manufacturing in the United States, particularly in the Midwest, where the Democrats have basically been abusing the Trump supporters for decades. So we're going to get into all that too. So that is kind of the play there at the moment. So we are ticking towards the deadline, and you guys know the deadline is the 4th of July. And that is in 16 days' time, 16-day time. So presumably we're probably going to have a little bit of wrap up here with Iran. Trump's definitely still trying to get them to the table, although we'll want to get rid of the nuclear threat once and for all. And that would be largely, I think there's a nuclear reactor that's a nuclear enrichment manufacturing factory, which is deep down. I think it's called Forlorn or something like that. And that apparently Israel has partly damaged it, but they need the big, bombs that the Americans have to really destroy it. So we'll see what happens in that space. And of course, apparently also, I think it's Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has handed over apparently political power of the country to the top military leader. So those are some of the developments over the last 24 hours, as I understand it. So that's kind of the play there. So obviously, wrapped it up. Everything, all these strategies, essentially, trade deal and big tax bill. Trump's trying to get it all in place by the 4th of July for the most part. We'll see how much. Obviously, when the G7, I think they had the final signing of the UK deal as well. So there we go. All right, that's kind of the play there for 4th of July. So we'll see how that all goes. And then, of course, maybe we have a party on the 7th, on Monday the 7th, ushering in the Trump's golden age of America, right? Which is still, generally speaking, on tact. Obviously, we have this geopolitical risks at the moment. And we're waiting for interest rate. Will we get an interest rate cut, or will we get more political playing from Jerome Powell with the Democrats there holding interest rates up higher than they need to be? And maybe hopefully we'll get at least a 50 basis point cut, maybe from 4.5 to 4%. We'll still see. Could be interest rates is something I know that Richard Hart looks pretty clearly at. And maybe it is one of the altcoin season triggers that we're all waiting for. That trigger where it all just starts to go up and away on that banana move. So that is Bitcoin. Ethereum, of course, we're waiting for this golden cross. You can see we got our circle here, and we're waiting for that golden cross there. So at the moment, we got the yellow line, which is the 50-day. That's $2,435 Ethereum. And the 200-day is $2,475. So we're basically around about $40 in gap separating a golden cross here. And of course, the chart has been consolidating very nicely. So, if as long as the Iran thing doesn't get too out of control, then, it's game on to the upside, right? Really, this parabolic's going to be in place. So especially if a deal's done with Iran and the nuclear threat is removed, and there's more of a peaceful outcome, then that would be very, very bullish as well, supportive at least. All right, so that's kind of the play, and interest rate cuts too. So we'll come back to that. So that is looking pretty teasingly good on the old Ethereum. And of course, let's go into some of the big news that happened today. Part of the strategy, of course, is regulation, deregulations, and leverage. That was the third leg of the Trump strategy. And we can see that the Senate passed today legislation for a form of cryptocurrency known as stablecoins. Of course, the first of the industry hopes will be the wave of bills to bolster its legitimacy and reassure consumers. And of course, we're talking about the Genius Act here. The Genius Act. This legislation got passed by 68 to 30 votes in the Senate. Pretty exciting, and will be sent to the House for potential revision. So it's going back to the House. It comes on the heels of the 2024 campaign cycle, in which the crypto industry, of course, ranked amongst the top political spenders in the country. And of course, 18 Democrat senators also crossed the aisle, so that's pretty cool, getting bipartisan support, siding with the Republican majority of 53 to 47. And of course, Senator Josh Hawley and Rand Paul were the only members of their party to oppose the measure. Obviously, Rand Paul there having a few things to say. He's pretty got his own positions. So is Josh Hawley. Both of them are very talented. You don't necessarily have to agree with them all the time, but I'm particularly a big supporter of Hawley. Particularly like Hawley a lot. He was the second. It was the second major bipartisan bill to advance through the Senate this year, following the immigration enforcement, the Laken-Riley Act in January. Still, most Democrats opposed the bill, obviously around Trump and his crypto activities. So I'm going to jump through a lot of that stuff. Senator Bill Hagerty from Tennessee, Republican, the bill sponsor, said on the Senate floor ahead of the vote that the legislation will have far-reaching implications for the financial system and paradigm shift development he believes will bring into the 21st century. With this bill, the United States is a step closer to being a global leader in cryptocurrency. Known as the Genius Act, the bill would establish guardrails and consumer protections for stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency typically pegged to the dollar. The acronym stands for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins. The bill only needed a simple majority to pass on Tuesday after it had already cleared its biggest procedural hurdle last week in a 68-30 vote, with 18 Democrats siding with Republicans. But the bill has faced more resistance than initially expected. And of course, a lot of this is around Trump's family doing crypto. They're basically not covered by the act, whereas the Congress and Senate people are. So there we go. This is a provision in the bill that bans members of Congress and their families. Last month, the Republican president hosted a private dinner, of course, around crypto. And we know that he reported earnings of $57 million for World Liberty Financial, which is doing a lot of big things in crypto. And of course, yesterday we covered the fact that Trump's kids, were now doing the Trump phone, right? So they're expanding as well. Not surprising, they're going to expand into a lot of different businesses. Daddy is president. A meme coin linked to him, of course, generated estimated $320 million in fees there. So that is kind of the play there. The minister obviously is supportive of crypto. And of course, we've got Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent urged the Senate to pass the bill as well, saying it could help grow into a $3.7 trillion market by the end of the decade for stablecoins. And of course, Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, the nation's largest crypto exchange, met with Trump and praised the early moves. The past weekend, Coinbase was amongst the most prominent brands that sponsored a parade in Washington, of course, for the 250th anniversary for the Army. And we covered that, of course, and it was Trump's 79th birthday. The crypto industry, of course, emphasized the view that legislation is if it be bipartisan. And of course, the Genius Act will be the most significant digital asset legislation ever to pass the US Senate. And that is from Tim Scott. And that is pretty cool. It's a product of months of bipartisan work there. So pretty cool. Obviously, some Democrats objected against that. The usual thing, they like spending everyone's money and then they object. So that is kind of the play there. We won't talk about Elizabeth Warren. It's like wasting our time. So that is kind of cool. That is where we are at the moment on that. So that was big news. And of course, generally that's going to have, I think some of the provisions, obviously a stablecoin has to be 100% collaterally backed. So that shouldn't, it means all the liquidity forks should be fine. And of course, also, if you're over 50 billion, if it's worth over 50 billion, I think you have to be registered. I think that's some of the key features there. All right. So that is the play. Let's jump away from that into PulseChain. Now, obviously, PulseChain we haven't got the links there, so because GoPulse is down, which I typically use, but what we might use is Pulse CoinList. Use Pulse CoinList instead, and bring that up. And let's see here. We've got obviously Pulse at the moment sitting at 000. So let's have a look at the chart, shall we? The old Pulse. This is Pulse here, and we can see the daily. Let's go look at the daily. So obviously daily down. Yesterday we had that nice little pump yesterday, right? We had INC pump. We ended up going to what did we end up going to? We ended up going to, where's the price on here? So really, is that the? That can't be right. Can't be right, that price. Is that right? We're currently at 4028. But we did yesterday. Yeah, not sure why it's not showing the right price here. But we did get up to 32. 3200 yesterday. And we're currently at 4028 now at the moment. So that little blip yesterday on the back of Ink got pumped, right? Ink got pumped. So that is the play there. On that one. Let me pull up the charts. Let me do that. Come back here. and pull up the charts here and load this up. Yeah, GoPulse is down, as I understand it. So we're going to double check. I'll double check GoPulse. Now it's still down. So whoa, not sure what's going on there. You can decide. Let's go to the charts and pull up Pulse. Pull up PulseX, pull up Hex, pull up Incentive Token. And we'll jump out of there and let me just set these up a little bit. Get into the chat there if you guys have been, doing anything particularly cool with the markets at the moment. And we're going to set up PulseX too. Sorry, I've got to do a little, fluffing around here, but that's the way it goes. And we're going to do Incentive Token too. And leave that there. Bam. Get rid of that too. And there we go. All right. I think we're almost up to speed there. Get rid of that. And bam. All right. Take that all to the end. And there we are. We got a setup. All right. So let's go back. Let's go full screen, shall we? Go full screen. Let's go back to this chart here. Get rid of these. Add me back in. And here we go. Bam. Magic. Movie magic. Took a few minutes, but we got there in the end. All right, so this is PulseChain chart, and we're on the daily here, and we can see that we're at 4 zeros 28.50. RSI is down at 36, so we're kind of down in this range here, this low range. After yesterday's big pump, look at that big pump, and we got up to 33.92 yesterday. We're down back at 28.51, obviously with the news around Iran and stuff. So just the way it goes. What else are we going to say about that? The 4 hourly, let's see where the 4 hourly is on that one. 4 hourly is also down pretty low, 38. We're just chilling around here at the moment. It's chilling around this 28. Got a bit of support at 27, 28. So hopefully we'll just linger around this area. It's kind of where we are at the moment. So the next level would be 2,500, right? So hopefully we maintain the sort of 27, 2,800 mark. Next area would be 2,500 if we went down another leg. We got only a little bit of room on the RSI. Would have to drag us down here, wouldn't it? Drag us down the RSI to do that. So at the moment, that is where Pulse is. PulseX at the moment was the one, of course, did pretty well yesterday as well. Got up to 4 zeros 31.74. And of course, as you guys know, the parity with the price there with Pulse. Let's have a look at that. It is at 0.85. So one PulseX, 0.85 Pulse at the moment, and you can see that mega uptrend is still well intact, getting ready probably to break that 1-to-1 mark. So PulseX does seem to be at some advantage there. And the price there at the moment is 4 zeros 2,400 at the moment. So that's almost just slightly below where PulseChain's next support area is. And we see this big volume came in yesterday, right? On the candle here, $3.6 million on the candle, or 3.5, but we are down 6% on the pullback. So if we look at the hourly chart here, we can kind of see that we had most of the volume leaving in the morning, my time, so between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was, like 8 hours ago or so, 8 to 12 hours ago. That's when most of the sell down happened after that big pump. And we had a nice little pump here come in with, what's it, $500,000 coming in to pump us. And then down we go. And all the weak hands, all the latest hands came down and sold us down. And it's particularly, generally a lot of particular culprits, like market culprits, that are probably doing that. So that is kind of where we are there. Who's in the chat there? Wookie says, just been doing some swing trading on these moves, says Wookie. Nice. All right, so that is where we are, PulseX. Let's go to Incentive Token. Now, Incentive Token is where all the action was happening. This is where we got pumped here on the hourly. You can see this is, we got pumped. It was away last night at 5 o'clock my time. And up we went here. So what's that, 12 and 5, is it? 12 and 5. So we really had a nice little pump, and it was caused quite the stir because we were all the way down at $1.41 on Incentive Token. And we got pumped all the way up to $2. $2. That's pretty awesome. So that is a really decent pump in the day, right? So that was pretty cool. and we got pumped all the way to $2. That was a 41% move. So, that was pretty cool. It'd be very cool if you could do that a couple of days in a row. That'd be cool. But that was what we did there. And we managed to have a high low at the moment. So we're at $1.50. It's only slightly higher, but still it's a higher low. And we'll see where we go from here. Up about 6%, currently up about 9%. So, if it can hold this area, start chugging its way back to the upside, that'd be pretty cool. That is the INC, and that caused all the excitement yesterday, or overnight at least. So Hex as well. On the daily. Let's have a look at the daily here. Hex at the moment had a big pump yesterday, got to 6,800 of a penny, and basically 2/3 of a cent, and now is sitting at 5,600 of a penny. On the bottom end, they all look pretty similar, don't they? After that move yesterday, and let's see if we've got the RSI on this. We do. They're all pretty similar, around 36, 38. So they're all just chilling down there. Obviously, we got some degree of support at 5/5300th of a cent penny, or more likely half a penny, right? So somewhere in between there, we got support in this zone. And of course, that would have to drag us down, the RSI down below 30 to get there. So just keep a lookout for that. Not sure what that cross is there for. And on the daily, we're below the 50-day, and we're below the 200-day in orange there on Hex, but still such a great pickup at the moment for Hex. That leads us into the overall market, $37.8 million. And that's way big, because we were down for a couple of days. We were down at like, $8 or $9 million in volume. And now we're at 37.8. Unfortunately, it's on a down day. We had an up day and a down day all in the same day. Welcome to crypto. Up day and down day all in the same day. That's the way it goes. That's a positive sign, is it, for the future? It's a positive sign for the future on the old volume. Now, obviously, we can see most of it was around PulseX and Incentive and Hex. That's if we rank it by volume. We can see that's most of the corporates there, obviously. And SolidX also did very well with the volume as well, pumping into there. And, of course, that is particularly linked into the Richard Hart core coins, right? And, of course, one of the big Magnificent Seven, as I call them, from Firewall. So there we go. Those are the big drivers there. And tick-tock, time to rock. The other one, of course, let's have a look at the actual rankings. So the best one at the moment is UFO. And, of course, one of the PTGC, the parent token, of course, is one of the Magnificent Seven, as I call it. And then we've got the Incognito sitting at 15% at the moment. Sparta from Wendy's for Tendies, apparently a hold HexOG. That's up 13.6%. Your Mum, of course, something that Moon King and Ian Heinisch, I think, have been pushing with the big burn on it. Your Mum from Elon Musk is up 12.4%. Finfire, I think this is Crispy Man's one, right? Crispy Man's, I think that's the one. Up 11%. One of the influencers does all the Hex breakdowns. I think it's Finfire. Hopefully they got that right. Doubt Token there has been up as well at 10.8%. And of course, Ink Token is still up, even from the sell-off. It's still up over 10.5% there. So not bad for Ink Token. And this shows you how quickly Ink Token can move, especially with some market makers that can move quite nicely. Stake Death at the moment is also up 7.8%. X is up 6.4%. PNX or Phoenix is up 4.5% there. Cumamon, been around for 9 months. That is up 1.5%. And SolidX, of course, is also in the mix there at $9.18. Obviously, that got pumped in a US dollar value versus Pulse. Went up to like almost $12, was it? I think it might have yesterday. And now it's down at about $9.20 after the pullback. And then we've got Fitzgerald, a company around. That's that little property developer, apparently. Now, the problem with these things, you've got to make sure, obviously, that, what is the promise there? I don't know if there's any particular promise for Fitzgerald, but you just have to be cautious about the setup there. So just to take note, we got Pulse there, SolidX Pulse. SolidX Pulse there at the moment, we're at $9.16 on there. And of course, we did have the ratio to Pulse is probably what I'm really interested in here. And that is sitting at 320. So it's actually rising. So the ratio to Pulse is rising. So it's getting more valuable. And so that's gone at 320. Now we're expecting big things from SolidX, of course, one of the Magnificent Seven, as I call it. And of course, this could really be explosive very soon, especially if the X Game Casino and all that stuff rolls out. There are going to be 4 products, as we understand it, that are going to be rolling out. And we've got a post here from Solid Hex Firewall himself on this topic. So we're going to read that. And I posted this out yesterday, a couple of minutes after it got posted. Solid Hex Firewall, the one of our two big public whales on PulseChain. Rackham Michelle's the other one. Hello, guys. Look like INC and PulseX is moving up today. Obviously, it's been sold off relatively since then. Is PDI moving? Nope. And of course, Nope token there is a reference to Randy Alaski, a big influencer in the space. And of course, is PDC moving? Nope. Of course, I've got PDC in the Magnificent Seven. We've got, is Teddy Bear moving? Nope. Is any PulseChain sub-community coin outperforming SolidX today? Nope. We already won before the races even started. And that's a very key line there. Already won before the races started, right? So we already won. I'm going to say it again, before the race even started, because we've been talking about this on this channel. This is going to be pretty big coming up on PulseChain, and one of the key bullish catalysts on PulseChain, right? The gust of wind, a bullish buy wave of over RH coins will naturally benefit SolidX more than anything else, since it is the coin with the most liquidity bonded with RH coins. So very key principle here on PulseChain of value. So well worth noting, right? Well worth noting there. Just wait until I launch 4 products in a row. 4 products in a row are going to be launching. And it's not just the products themselves, which I think are going to be amazing, but it's actually the networks and the marketing behind it that are going to be very key catalysts. All those working together could make for some pretty incredible action on PulseChain, particularly around the SolidX ecosystem. Hey, good to see Craig in the house there. Q Baller. Morning all. Good to see you as well. And yeah, so that is very cool. 4 products coming, one after another over the next few weeks. There we go. So we've already got a time frame as well. They're all going to launch one after another, or one after another, and it's going to be over the next few weeks. So hey, look, you guys decide. It's just starting to take off now. Obviously, not financial advice, but take for it what it is. One of the big liquidity pools on PulseChain. And it's about to get real. And then you will start to see direct buy pressure on SolidX as well. So not just the core coins, as he's mentioning with the market makers, but actually SolidX as well. Yes, that's right. Today, SolidX is up 30%, and virtually no one bought SolidX today. At the moment, of course, it's pretty flat, but it's because everything we had a bull market and a bear market all in a day. So there we go. Yes, that's right. SolidX up 30%. Isn't that neat? Hart's Law, baby. Hart's Law. SolidX is the king of Hart's Law. No one else is even remotely close to us. And this is coming from Firewall, of course. If you create your own coin on PulseChain, I'm not just going to compete with you. I'm going to dominate and outperform everything you might try to do. The out season starts today and will last around 400 days. This is from Firewall. Let the games begin, and may the best be victorious. Good luck to everyone. And of course, he posted the chart there for SolidX as it was when he posted it, right? It was up 23.5% at that time. Now, it's had 9,000 views on that. And of course, you can see me posting Magnificent 7, SolidX. So there we go. And this is where it's at the moment. So even with the pullback, do you note there? All right, that's got to be the tip of the day. Yes, sir. All right. Apparently, I can't talk while those sound effects are on, but hey, it was worth it. It was worth it. All right. So that is from Firewall there. So a big shout out to Firewall. We're looking forward to it. And as you guys know, we've been covering it for some time. We've been dropping the alpha on this channel, man. Dropping one after another after another. And of course, the Magnificent 7 there is a go-to, right? A go-to. Now, if you guys haven't joined Strategy Club, of course, I just highly recommend you join up. That is the link there from Wookie. And there's also a link in the video description if you're watching after the stream as well. So check that out and join up to Strategy Club today. Get all the alpha from the only significantly large streamer that is streaming every day. So there we go. It's up. It's up. We got Love.io in the mix there. It is also slightly green. We just don't know what they're going to do with their strategy. We had Anders on a couple of weeks ago. And we just don't know, how fast they can roll stuff out, their app, and what platform networks they got. Are they repairing? Because obviously being the SEC really opens things up again. Are they renegotiating? Are they chatting with some of their old leads? We just don't know anything in that space. We do know that they've got their Luffy.com store, which is bringing a bit of capital on the PulseChain, but we just don't know where that is going. So we'll keep a lookout for that, and got an open mind. Fetch Oracle, of course, pretty slightly green as well. So those are kind of it. Top 30 is slightly green on Dex Green as default view. That's trending. at the moment. And of course, we have everything else is slightly out of the money. Now, something we saw funny yesterday, and I have to point this out, is saw Sun Minimo, right? Obviously, this is one of the Magnificent Seven, and we saw the price get pulled back. Now, part of this was, I think, part of the LP got pulled down. So I think I haven't confirmed that, but it suddenly just dropped in price. So I'm thinking the LP must have been part of the LP must have been taken out. And then we had some selling going on, right? So we had some selling. Obviously, we also had the Iran, thing turning everything down. Now we still seem to be having, quite a bit of selling there. So that is Sun Minimo. Obviously, we have technically rolled over in the chart, right? So we had these higher lows, and then we had the World Conference. That was the World Austrian Conference. That turned out to be. I did post a video to that. It was like okay. And then they did have their conference at 2, their private conference. So they had their public conference, I think it might have been like 9, 10 in the morning, maybe 10 in the morning. And then 2 p.m. That day, they had their private presentation. And so that could go. But there was, a lot of bells and whistles. And probably the big thing is that the dashboard and all the stuff around the client stuff has not gone live yet. They're still working on fine-tuning that. So nothing's really happened in that space. What some of the big catalysts like customer buying and things like that. So just take note of that. We're still expecting a lot of that big heavyweight stuff to come soon. Just don't know when now. So we'll keep tabs on it. Hopefully we'll have an update this weekend. Hopefully. That's fingers crossed on that. So that is kind of where we are there. And then, of course, the market just rolled over. We had some wallet selling here. And then, of course, we sort of moved sideways at around 10, 11 cents. And then yesterday we had, it looked like some LP got moved or something. And then, of course, we had some selling into that. So that's kind of the play on Sun Minimo. So we still have to see some actions there. Now, we have seen the over $1 million has been bought and burned so far, from what we can tell, for Sun Minimo. So that's kind of where the number seems to have lied, which I think is about 13 million, around 12, 13 million coins out of the 5 billion. Remember, 1.6 billion is held by the team, which is going to apparently be transferred over to Soil Bank, which is going to be kind of the non-profit. And then the rest of it is in the public hands, right? A lot of it in the customers' hands of Soil that were in the Reward 1.0 program that switched their points over for Soil tokens. Now, obviously, they've had 3 evolutions. They've had the STBL, I think it was, and then they had the first Soil, and then they forked that. They forked that how long ago? They forked that 1 month and 20 days ago, so about 50 days ago. And now we got the new coin, right? Which is they have no God mode keys over it anymore, so it's just being burned off so far. So that's kind of the market at the moment where we are. In fact, I'm not sure if I actually have that on the history. Let me. I don't think I do have that on history. So that is kind of where we are at the moment. So yeah, and the other thing, of course, is we've had ramp now, right? So let's go to the hourly chart. You can see here on the hourly, we had this big weird hour here back yesterday, last night, my time. So this was where a lot of the weirdness happened in the chart, and we had like a sell down with volume. It was like 36k volume, but also we did have some sort of just a jump down in value around here, so it was a bit weird. Anyway, now we're at 9.2 cents at the moment, and so let's see where it holds. Now, obviously, often when you have a spike down like this one here, let me go to the 4 hourly. When you have a spike down like this one, especially once it's rolled over, it tends to go down to at least that spike, and that spike down there at the moment is sitting at 8.3 cents. So that's probably the next kind of logical area if it does go down, is to that point. And if it breaks down to that, then obviously down to 7.6 cents as well. Now, this assumes that you don't have more buy and burning coming from the company, and of course that the customer dashboard doesn't go live and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see where that goes. On the 4 hourly, we are in the oversold territory in 26, 27. On the daily, though, we're still sitting at 43. So, I mean, the 7.5 is definitely a plausibility there. That 7.5 to 6.5. So that range there would become the next sort of only really strong area where we've got horizontal price support, because it's a brand new chart from this perspective, the new fork chart. And so that is the play there. So yeah, we got 8.4 cents, and then we got this range on the horizontal between 6.5 and 7.5 cents. So we'll see what happens there. Those are the two marks So let's have a look at the buying. So we do have, so don't see a lot of the ramp now buying on here at the moment. So that's the ramp now account there. So you can kind of see that those are the last buys. So 4 hours ago, there were a couple of $1,000 buys, but there's not been a lot more than that over the last, let's have a look. In the last 10 hours, we had a couple more $1,000 buys coming from ramp now. But that's ticking away. So ramp now is definitely bringing new capital. Remember, that's all new USDC coming to PulseChain. So that's all new capital, which is the kind of cool thing. And they send them over at the moment. They send them over in $15,000 lots. So that's kind of cool. There's a secondary account as well, which I believe may be related to the company buy and burn. Just haven't yet confirmed, but that is the key. Now, we did have obviously a relatively decent sell back here an hour and a half ago. That's pushed us to 9.1 cents. So we'll see where all that lands. Yeah, the last big buying was from ramp now, and that's the mark there. So we're probably having slightly, even though we've had some good buy and burning, it's been underwhelming recently. So I'm not sure. We just don't know the profile of how they're doing that. And of course, we estimate that they probably got somewhere about 8.5 million euros in the treasury since January the 1st this year that would be used for buy and burns. And we do know for the last couple of days that it's been direct. So now they're going from their bank account, rather than doing it manually, they're going through their bank account through ramp now, rather than doing it themselves, basically. So when they're doing it themselves, it was much easier to track, but they're doing through ramp now. And I think ramp now may have set them up a separate account to do that. So that could be why the other account is there. So that's kind of where we're at the moment on Sun Mineral. So we're still waiting for all the big news, really. A bit more, obviously, the buy and burn, and particularly around the customer dashboard and new website, the bridge, and the Soil wallet and all that sort of stuff. So that's still waiting for that. That is all delayed. Typical in corporate and crypto, isn't it? Have delays in timeframes. That's where we're at the moment, 9.22 cents. And that's another one of the Magnificent Seven. Now, obviously, actions still have to back upwards, so we're still waiting for that to happen as well. All right, let me see here. The incentive token may have also played a role last night with the incentive token. People often shift money from one coin to another, especially when it's when they made a lot of profits on it. So that's the other thing, right? Because we had a huge rally in the chart, and there's a lot of people with relatively free coins in the money, as they say. All right, so that's the one on Soul token. Let's jump out of there, and let's go back to the marks here. So what we talked about on the title there, exploring PulseChain opportunities. So we've covered some of the Magnificent Seven. Obviously, we've got the rich heart coins. We've covered that. The only one we haven't covered out of the Magnificent Seven is PGC, the Greys, right? So that's definitely an opportunity. The first DAO token on PulseChain. So we might as well cover that as well. And that will wrap us off with the top 7 Magnificent Seven, as I say. Let's see, PDC the Greys here. Just looking for the right pair. They've got those pairs there. You've got the 2 down the bottom there, but I was just trying to find the Pulse pair. Is that the one up there? Oh, where we go? Yeah, PDC the Greys. We've got Hex. We've got every pair that I'm not after. I can see every pair that I'm not after. Anyway, we got. Let's go to PulseX anyway. Let's go to PulseX pair, and that is the one. That is where we are at the moment. So we're at 0003 at the moment on PDC. So we're just ticking away sideways. And if we have a look at this chart here, we've got a bit of resistance at 35. That's kind of the next obvious target. We've tried to get there 3 times now recently. The 3,500, we're currently at 3,000, so 3,000 US in the US dollars or cents. And we're trying, after we break that, then we've really got good room to move to 4,700, right? So those are kind of the natural horizontal targets, and then possibly up to 55. And then it's then it's really trying to get back up to the all-time high, which is up here at 1,300 for a penny, and getting close to that 1 cent mark, right? And of course, we're expecting big things from this PGC the Greys. That's why I put it into the Magnificent Seven, right? And that would top us off there. And its drivers are a little different. So SolidX driver is, of course, Firewhale and all the 4 products that he's launching, and all the advertising he's going to put behind that, all the networks that he's associated with. That's going to be driving that value. Sun Minimal is a new corporate paradigm where 20% of the net sales go from the corporate into the coin, buy and burn it. So that's a different paradigm that can scale. That's also related to more the economic cycle. Slightly less to the crypto cycle. The only thing about that, of course, people sell in crypto cycles, so that is the the sell pressure on there, so it's not immune to that part of it. But certainly with non-stop buying coming in from their business, it's not going to have the same problem on the buy side that we see in crypto when the market goes into a bear market, right, or down cycle. So that's those are the catalysts. Obviously, also not just the buy and boom, but all the customer growth, and of course the 20% discount on the Rewards 2.0 program. Those are all some of the catalysts, as well as potentially investment banks and coming in as well and behind that. So and of course they've got coming up, they've got the Floyn listing. I've talked about that in the past. That's going to open them up to, and I found out new information there about that. So you're going to have to get into the Strategy Club to learn about the new information. But that is in the video description if you want to join at Strategy Club today. Only $35 a month, so great value there. So that gets us to our top 6, and of course these things can scale into big values. And then of course the number 7 is PGC the Grey, and this is really community driven. So this is what I would call one of the quality community driven projects is PGC. And of course, this is the first DAO on PulseChain. It has very good influencer support, so it's got a lot of influencers in it, not just 1 or 2, but a good half a dozen at least, and maybe more, maybe it's a couple of dozen, depending on how you describe what an influencer is. And Prairie Banana, of course, leading the charge on that, doing great coverage. It's kind of like the daily equivalent, and PGC the Greys there. But yeah, it looks got a good model, and it's just ticking away. Nice treasury as well. And of course, they're building out lots more stuff, cool information pages and stuff like that. So PGC the Greys is why I've got number 7 here, and of course one of the biggest engaged communities on PulseChain as well. So that's kind of the mark there, and that makes us our top Magnificent 7. So I talked about PulseChain, exploring PulseChain opportunities. Those are the Magnificent 7 as I see it, and there are risk and rewards between them, of course. But it's going to be pretty exciting where they all go. The other one, of course, is that they're all pretty much linked to Richard Hutt core coins as well, right? So that's key. That's key there. The other thing I was going to say is that is the mark. Now we're going to have a look at other ones, of course. We've looked at the markets, but we're going to have a look at other PulseChain opportunities on PulseChain. Let's do that and have a bit of fun here. So on the link there, we're going to go to Pulse Coin List and jump around here. So as you can see, some of the top gainers, we've had Your Mum, Doubt Token in there as well. So they've been performing pretty well recently. Kind of cool. Now, the one thing you have to think about is when we do get this altcoin season, what's going to be left behind. So something that might be popular now, but while we're in this sort of malaise, sort of near the bottom, not quite the bottom, but near the bottom, is what will get sold off, and people will put it into all the good stuff like the core coins or something like that, and the Magnificent 7. Those sort of questions you need to think about too, because if you're playing too much around with some of those, you could get left behind right very quickly. So just take note. All right. NJ says on the spot, yeah, I think they've finally rugged. This is NJ. Yeah, we're gonna have a look at that actually. We'll have a look at Go Token. I don't know if we've got that up here at the moment. That was supposed to be up there, right? Go. Let me have a look. Go. Go Pulse. So it's down 12% from the looks of it. I'm just going to look at the main peer. We've got DAI, Pulse. So they've got 2 main peers, Pulse and DAI, from the looks there. And just looking at some of those here. So we'll have a look at the Pulse one and see what the market's done there. Well, it's definitely on the weak side, but then it looks like a lot of the rest of the markets at the moment, down 9 cents. I've been holding 10 cents at the moment. So at 1.5 million, but like you say, the website is not on at the moment. So DNS probe finished NX domain. So I'm not sure whether there's just a server issue there. Pretty bizarre that it's down, but we'll just see what happens in the next 24 hours. I don't know if there's any people talking about it on X. I said that, but of course there are. But that is kind of where we are at the moment, 9 cents on GoPulse. All right, so moving to Pulse Coin List, which is one of the other great sites in terms of it's been reliable for information, or at least got a lot of information. And at the moment, of course, we've got some other opportunities right in the mark. So let's just go through these from the top to bottom. I hope you guys can see the screen. Let me just make that a little bigger. Not sure if is that too big? All right, no, I think that's fine. So let's see. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So let's go through some of these. So we've got all these in the house there. All these are pretty well known. So we're going to float down through some of this. Wrap Bitcoin. So Wrap Bitcoin holding up pretty well, right? 413,000 is a forked Bitcoin. I definitely have always thought this is going to do quite well. Obviously, Bitcoin is the one that's hyper rallying. So this is probably going to do pretty well on that mix. And of course, this could be one of the coins that possibly Some people say Richard might support. I mean, there's theories out there like that. I'm not going to say that necessarily, but it's definitely a plausible option, having Bitcoin. If you matched up, if let's say Richard came with his Bitcoin and somehow paired it up and collateralized it without being able to sell it down too much, then yeah, you could anchor the value of P wrap Bitcoin, right? It could be happening. At the moment, of course, we came off the bottom with all the remember the sell-off by XUSD team, and with that team we had a big sell-off, and we managed to recover from that. I think that was back here. Was it the 18th of March? I think that was the 18th of March, and of course got sold off down here. Got all the way back down on $116 on the old Bitcoin there. Does that change? Let me just get that full screen. So yeah, that was the chart there. And of course, the high we've had back on wrap Bitcoin was back here on the 29th of November. And that was all the way up at $2,674. So that's a law of convergence, right? Law of convergence there. So yeah, we could see some interesting play if Richard Hart decided, if he still has a lot of Bitcoin. Some people say he has billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Some people say maybe not so much, but we will see. $412 at the moment, and we have got a rising, slowly rising up. See that? It's a little uptrend. We've got a little rising up going on there. In fact, let's add in. I guess we can add in a sort of a move here. Got a little uptrend going there. It could even take it, I guess, a bit further back, but that's kind of slowly creeping up there. Our recent high, we got up to $563, got up to $600. So yeah, it could be some nice value in there. Could get pushed up by a market maker and get some of this volume maybe. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I think back here we had the what was it back here? We think we had the farms, didn't we? Have the farms as well on PulseX. So yeah, lots of things that could be done there to pump the value on the old wrap Bitcoin. But definitely, regardless of all that, just the narrative of Bitcoin going up. If it goes to 150 to 200, 250, we could see some pretty cool things happening with the old wrap Bitcoin chart there to some degree. Obviously, with more volatility, depending on the way it's structured. If it's not supported or supported, being not supported at the moment, that would be obviously a lot of sellers can sell down for their mad gains. That's all we can say. All right, there's a fork coin. So that is a wrap Bitcoin, but pretty interesting. One of the more interesting narratives out there, I think. What else is going on here? We're just going through the list, really, aren't we? I'm just jumping through all the OG web chefs because I consider them more, obviously, they're a different beast, a more speculative beast. So let me just, Troper, of course, is another one. So obviously James Maria, the genius guy on the chain. But this is kind of where we are. We got a lot of smart people on the chain, but because I'm not sure this is at 6.6 cents at the moment. So this is looking pretty good on the old recovery. Let's go to the weekly here. I'm going to go full screen because the screen is a little bit naff when it looks like that. So let me just go full screen. And let's go through to the weekly chart, shall we, on this one? Because it's been around a lot longer. And let's log and auto tune that. It's auto tune. So there's the weekly chart, and we can see that we really bottomed off of 77 hundredths of a penny. Now we're at 6,600. So what's that? It's a 9x or something. And we're back up. Look at that. 7x. Has been as high as a 10x. Has been as high as a 10x. So this is showing some pretty big strength. And of course, we had all our rug pull back here in the March, right? We had that rug pull, and he was live streaming it, right? Live streaming, selling it all down, bridging the die back over the bridge, the Ethereum, and then coming back a couple weeks later after the PDI maker being fixed up, and then pumping it back up. And here we are back up again. Not all-time highs. All-time highs are up here at 19 cents. So yeah, if you're back James Maria, then this could do some pretty cool things, up 200%. Of course, we saw people decouple from to some degree from the PDI. Obviously, SolidX was one of those, and they moved back into the core coins. Hence why Firewhale was celebrating all that. And of course, PGC, the Greys, did to some degree as well, right? So some of our major projects. Interesting enough, both of them magic. Both of them part of my magical. What's it? What did I say? Magnificent Seven. And if you're not familiar with that term, Magnificent Seven, the stock market has the Magnificent Seven, right? So it has Nvidia, Apple, Google, and all that sort of stuff, right? So Alphabet. So that's where it comes from. That Magnificent Seven. That's PulseChain's equivalent. I just coined it the other day. And so I'm going to own that. I'm going to own that going forward. Good and the bad and the ugly, and the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, so that is the play. Let's just scroll down a bit further and see what else we got. That's going pretty interesting here. We're going through the PulseCoin list. If you want to know where that is, I'll post the link to that in the chat. Now you can find all these links in our Discord. So if you're not joining our Discord, definitely join up today. General membership of Discord is only $12.50 a month, so really good value. But if you want to get into our strategy club and get all the alpha drops, that is $35 a month, which is fantastic value. Come on. That's awesome. So some people are charging thousands of dollars out there. So consider that very cool. And of course, I'm the one covering PulseChain every day. So get in there. All right. So that is the play. What else? We got a Troper. We got obviously Most Wanted. So if you like the Richard Hart pump tires, we got the Most Wanted there. That's ticking away there. Most Wanted, Best, I think Best Everything, and of course Pump Tires, I think are his three. So these are the ones that they're a bit more riskier than the Richard core coins, obviously, but the supply is less as well. So you can decide about that. But then you got to think about how much capital will flow into that. We've got Pump Tires as well in the mix there. So it's another one, obviously. That'd be the chief one there if you're interested in Pump Tires. I don't think Pump Tires is doing that much volume these days. Obviously, when it first came out, it was pretty popular. But that might pump on the mix there. But look how far they're down over the last week, 32%. 30% there. So just take note of the volatility. These are a lot more speculative, right? So take note of that. Now for Investor, of course, we didn't cover too much OG WebChef, but this might be the one that does better over time. But once again, once we get the bull market going, what's going to be left behind, what mechanisms are going to be pushed. We just a lot more uncertainty around that. Obviously they've got the ability to pump a lot of money through the volumes. But in any case, there's a lot of profit taking going on too, right? So that is where we are for Vesta, down 42% for the week. Let's have a look at Teddy Bear. Now, Teddy Bear Takeover. Now, this obviously is banked by Moon King and Ian Heinisch, two of the biggest, two of maybe the top 5 influencers that are over 100,000 on PulseChain. And so, yeah, that's down 31% for the week, down 11%. But there could be a nice little pickup for Teddy Takeover. Obviously, this was in response to James Maria, right? With the pull, with the kind of rug pull, and then what's the opposite of rug pull? Pump? I don't know. But that is Teddy Takeover, and it's currently at 2,100 for a penny. So it's probably well oversold, is my guess. Let's have a look at the Teddy Takeover here. And obviously, this is you're really how we talked about SolidX. You're kind of following the whale, right? The whale strategy. With Teddy Takeover, you're following. Yeah, it's a meme coin, but you're following the influencer strategy, right? One of the top influencers. That's kind of the idea there. And here we are at 2,100 of a penny at the moment, right near the bottom. Look how much cheaper this has gone down. And the ratio to pulse, let's have a look at that. Always important when you look at these coins, look at the ratio to pulse. And it's obviously devalued 75. So one Teddy is Teddy Takeover 75 at the moment. So that's kind of the play there. And we've got RSI. Let's add that on. Have a look on the RSI. RSI. It's kind of your go-to, like minimum go-to there. And we can see, we're not quite oversold, but we're at 33. So it could even push down even lower. It does feel like it's been abandoned to some degree. But hey, look, the opportunity is that once it gets down low, you buy low and you sell high. You just got to pick the right sort of low, don't you? Is it still got a bit of room to move down? It can. So where's it going to top out? 65 something? Who knows? But that is definitely cheaper today than it was back up here when it was 304 pulse per Teddy Takeover there. And of course, the price there to the upside. So, what's the price to the upside? And that's the other way to look at it. What's your upside gain and your downside risk? So here at the moment, the upside is 4.3x. The down gain, well, you can argue where it's going to go, but is it going to go to 21? Then it's only got a very low downside, right? A very low downside on that one. But if you want to do an adjusted RSI down low, it could be even further. But 12% on there at the moment. So the risk reward's pretty good at the moment for a speculative take on Teddy Takeover. Obviously, you did need to check out, how much pumping Moon King and others are doing on terms of talking about it. But that is Teddy Takeover. Let's quickly look. We talked about James Maria as a troper, right? But we've also got the Teddy Bear, right, which is the original before Teddy Takeover. It's the Teddy Bear. It's part of James Maria. That's down 20%. So that'd be an interesting one to look at as well. GoPulse, of course, we talked about that. The website's down, but it's sitting at 9 cents, so it doesn't seem to be panic on the streets at the moment for that. What else we got going here? Scroll down a bit further. Fresh Start Shower has been doing pretty well these days, up 21% for the week. That could be pretty interesting. It doesn't really excite me too much, but look, it might be something of interest to track along there. Might get abandoned pretty quickly too. I mean, look at the range is pretty wide, so you are taking on a lot of risk with that one. Currently at the 1800th of a penny at the moment. But like I say, if you don't know what to do, stick with the cause, right? Stick with the cause. And if you want to take a little bit more risk, stick with the Magnificent Seven. That's probably the play there at the moment. So that is that. Now let's how far down we get to. We were quite getting far down the list here. What a Sparta. Now Sparta's been performing pretty well. It is down 23% for the week, but it has done kind of well. The idea of that they got a tax, right, and they got a tax and they're buying a Hex. They burn some Sparta with the tax, then they buy Hex, put it in treasury, and then if Hex pumps later on, then they're going to sell the Hex to buy the Sparta up and pump the Sparta. That's the idea. So that's where we're at the moment. That's at 4.8 cents, near down the bottom at the moment as well. Obviously, you have to check the volumes and everything else, put the RSI in it and all that good stuff. But that is kind of where we are on Sparta at the moment as well. I'm not sure how far we got down on there. Someone's just put the lawnmower on, so I'm gonna have to turn that off. Just give me a moment. All right, so there we go. Someone decided just to turn the lawnmower or hedge clipper or something on there. It was pretty crazy. You guys probably hear it. It's so loud. At least I could hear it. Halgo now, if you guys don't know, Halgo is on Midgard. So if we go to Midgard, let's go find Midgard. Midgard here is got Halgo on it, and they've started advertising on Midgard. So if you can see little ads here on Midgard, these are Halgo ads. Look in the middle there, first advertiser. So big shout out to Hans and the Midgard team out there. But that's pretty interesting. So that's good. I like to see this. I like to see teams doing promotions and stuff like that if they're able to. Obviously, not all teams can do that, but that is pretty cool to see that. And let's have a quick look at Halgo. Obviously, this benefits from Hex, right? If Hex does well. So we'll have a quick look at that. Have a look at the Halgo chart. So it's currently at 0.0055 at the moment. Recent high has been up at 0.00, almost 0.00, almost double, almost 1/10 of a penny, almost. Just shy. Man, just got shy. Got resistance at 1/10. It's funny how the markets do that, isn't it? Just always makes you sort of amused. But that is the chart there. Look at that chart. Pretty crazy. It's almost like if you know where the bottom of you buy down here, it's going to go up here. It's almost like that. You buy down here, it's going to go up there. At the moment, we're kind of maybe 60% the way down or something. But 0.0055. We'll see where that goes. We have a little bit of uptrend at the moment. We've got higher lows. See if it can hold and finally start to move up there. Could be early indicator of things to come. It is in the right time of the market, I think. But that's the play. Now Algo. Let's jump down. Now, I'm sorry, I'm having to scroll down all the way down again, but we are going through this list. What else we got there? We're going to. We had liquid staked ETH doing well on the main crypto. That's down 30% at the moment. One of the forked tokens on PulseChain. Top Hat from Crypto Coffee is sitting at 21 per penny. Once again, this is another influencer coin, so you're sort of backing the influencer there. How active are they and all that sort of stuff? But cool brand, right? Top Hat from Crypto Coffee. One of the probably overall, in my view, if you wrap up all the features, probably the biggest PulseChain influencer overall. If you sort of look at all the dimensions, obviously X Game is related to Solid X, so that's obviously going to probably do pretty well on the move back up. Obviously, it's been down today, 13%, 23% on the pullback, but we get a bounce back. These are going to bounce back pretty strong. Let's see what else we got there. We're just scrolling down. Incognito, it's kind of could be a good one. It's been performing kind of nicely. Qmon as well. Surf Token, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. This one, I think the team's pretty amazing. With Crypto Paradise and Nick Hillman. These guys got like 130,000 followers, but the thing about them is they're very proactive, and very proactive, very professional, and I can't say it enough because I really like that stuff. That stuff I really like. We got a lot of people out on X and stuff doing a lot of drama at the moment, and a lot of people like that because it's entertainment, but it's not really crypto and crypto value, right? So they really like what these guys are doing. Also, they're doing a lot of collaborations. I mean, they've collaboration with PDC, with X, with Top Hat. I really like where they're going here, and they're actually adding a lot of value to PulseChain. So Surf token, keep a lookout for that. You have to get 200,000 Surf token to get in the DAO. So like PDC, they're another one that could check out there as well. So kind of cool there from Surf and Crypto Paradise. That is the biggest team that we've had come on to PulseChain that I'm aware of, and it's great to see them coming here and building out, which is pretty cool. Has a lot of belief in where PulseChain will go, right? What else we got going down here? We're just scrolling down a bit further. We've got Surf token there. We've got Pepe. Obviously, some of the meme coins may do better later on when we move forward in time. Just scrolling down there. Ragme, of course, just recently launched from Cabal King. So big shout out to him and 414. A nice little move. What else there? Let's jump down there. 9mm, of course. When the volumes, when we do get on an uptrend, all the dexes are probably going to re-rated. So I'm thinking of 9mm, 9-inch, Internet Money, Patias, Portal X, which will be Power City. So those will probably all move to the upside. And possibly even any bridge tokens with bridges. So there's something you have to think about moving forward, right? Is a lot of those will probably do pretty well. So take note of that. Emmet Farms, some of the more valuable farms. Emmet, of course, being one of the more innovative farms there with, they pay out EDI, which is a really smart idea. They have a lot of collaborations. Crypto Paradise is one of them. And they're doing a lot more there. So big shout out to Kairos and the team. So Emmet Farms is really, really cool. We have a couple of really cool farms in that space. I'm thinking of Nexion as well. Nexion's going to be huge, I think, coming up as a real value add to the markets with their 10x leverage and with their Glow product. And their staking 2.0 multiple token rewards, as well as their NFT staking, which is a game changer for PulseChain. Might revitalize all those NFT markets and NFT collections on PulseChain with the new products coming from Nexion. So yeah, Emmet, Nexion really adding a lot of value to the chain. And there's obviously Axel out there as well, doing some pretty frontier stuff on token launches. The key thing is that the codes need to be verifiable. They need to be able to be verified and renounced and all that sort of stuff. So it's very key. Now XUSD, man, we had the team on, of course, from XUSD a couple of weeks back. And it's this here going to be really interesting. We know that Raquel Michelle is like number one holder of XUSD and Vibe token, sort of related to it. And this is going to be interesting. Can they get to $1? Right, this is a different approach, so it's innovative. And whenever you take on innovation, obviously it's riskier, right? It's kind of riskier. So yeah. Max Troyer says, not sure if my last message was sent, but PLS Burn is working since GoPulse is down. Just for your information. Hey, thanks for that, Max. Appreciate that. So PLS Burn. I think it's been a while since I've been on PLS Burn. It's just faintly remember there. So I've been on GoPulse so much every day. What else do we got? Sitting at quarter of a penny at the moment is the old XUSD. So this was back. It got pumped. Remember when they were pulling out, selling down all the PDI to shut down PDI Maker on PulseChain and Mr. Dong and the leakages there. And of course, then they were pumping their own XUSD out of that. That all got sold down, and it's now down to a quarter of a penny at the moment. So that is the plate. Now, are they going to be able to, slowly oscillate through up to? Are they going to be able to slowly oscillate up to their $1 peg? That's the question, right? That is the question. And how do they do that? Through incentives and liquidity pool weaving, right? So we'll see how that goes forward. And of course, Raquel Michelle's taken a decent position in that one, the big whale, of course. Max says, yes, sir, according to their Twitter. Okay, right. So that's their backup side, the PLS bin. Yeah, it's a while since I looked at that side, so maybe that's the case there. Appreciate that, Max. Thanks very much. All right, so that is the place on that one. Let's see what else we're going through here. Scroll. Here we go, down. So we talked about WAGME. We talked about 9mm, Emmets. We talked about XUSD. communists. Now, people are staking in communists and got debt, stuff like that. So a lot of people are still participating in communists. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out in the future as well. And loan token, right? So we've got these liquidity forks. We've got 4 liquidity forks, including Ink Printer. I think we actually got Fast Abdul in the chat there, the founder of Ink Printer. There he is there. And of course, that is going to be interesting to see as well. Obviously, we had this new Genius Act go through with stablecoins. Really probably won't impact these liquidity forks at all because they will basically comply from what I can tell. Loan token there. Now, obviously, liquid loans and these other liquidity forks, the PUSD ones, and Ink Printer there from Fast Abdul, they're just ticking away as well. And they could probably get re-rated as well in the bull market, just like a lot of stuff. So people are going to probably flock to a lot more of the DeFi. Obviously, meme coins are I'm still expecting those to do really well, like any cycle. But you'll have to be very selective on the meme coins that you pick. That's the only thing I would say. Then we got all these sort of random PRC copies, right? So compound DAI and lots of these little derivatives, ST DAI. There's so many of them. So they're all sitting out there as well. Be interesting to see those over time, but it's not where you want to put your main bags. But certainly, picking a little bit, you just never know your luck. What else there? Let's have a scroll down, have a little bit more of these. Maximus, of course. Maximus, if you guys are not familiar, is from Dipcatcher. Dipcatcher, of course, is doing FlexNet on the Ethereum side for eHex, and this here is one of the 2 big whales they've staked out past 2030. I think it's 2034, something like that. And it's Maximus and the Hex Gold Whale have got the big stakes out there. So it's going to be interesting to see what this looks like when we get to that point. Keep a lookout for Maximus. They're cool. Axis Live, of course, we're getting back to influencers again. Axis Live, of course, one of the more bigger influencers in PulseChain, and of course has taken a little bit of a hiatus. I think he's just come back in the last couple of days, from what I can tell. So he'll be back. It looks like he's back in full strength. So that could be interesting to see where that goes now that he's back on deck with that. And then, of course, SolidX, we talked about that. That's the pump tires version. Let's scroll down here a bit more. We're in the top 100 here on Pulse Coin list. Pulse Dogecoin there. Let me just scroll down. Milady, Solana, Daytona Finance. Daytona Finance really not doing much anymore. It was great when it was out. I mean, it did surprise me to the upside. Still operating, of course. I'm not sure what the volume's at the moment, but that is still there. But once again, I think it's probably had its day, unless they magically turn things around. But it is ticking away. It is still a going concern of somewhat. And then, of course, you got Hedron, right, which is the big airdrop, like Communist was a big airdrop to Hex stakers. And you got Hedron there ticking away also, and that might do some pretty cool stuff. I'm not sure whether Alex McFerder's 2.0 is coming out with Hedron and Icosa, but if that does come out, that will certainly put a lot of lifeblood in there, and that was going to add so many more features, including multi-chain operability as well. So keep a lookout for that. So those are the top 100 there. Obviously, could keep going, but there are thousands of coins on PulseChain. I guess the first couple 100 are worth talking about. Maybe we'll probably do a more extensive thing at another time. But we're up to an hour and 17 minutes, and it's probably a good time to wrap it up there. Big shout out to Midgard. If you haven't looking for a top explorer on PulseChain, Midgard's Explorer is pretty amazing. So definitely check that out too. I'll post the link to that in the chat just to wrap things up there. Big shout out to Hans and the team and the old Midgard. Pushing the boundaries on PulseChain, and looking good. All right, so they're going to have lots of rollouts on Midgard. They've got lots of new features and bells and whistles coming. But it's definitely a good block explorer to have if you want to check out lots of different things. All right, I think that's it. For today. What a show it was. Exploring PulseChain opportunities and markets. Maybe we should do a show one time where we just go through all the different tokens and have a little play around. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe go through a couple 100. It's like, yeah, come on, let's do it. PulseChain maxis to the front. PulseChain maxis to the front. All right, that's enough for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm going to leave you a couple of little alpha videos on the way out about where we are in the cycle from billionaire Raoul Paul, and of course also Richard Hart God mode candles, because this is kind of, we're getting close. We've got all this volatility with the geopolitical risks and things like that. Hopefully we'll get an interest rate cut, but politics is being played. Politics gets in the road, but we are still heading in the right direction overall, because Trump is pushing through, making some pretty awesome decisions for the most part. So we shall see where it all lands, but it's looking pretty good so far still. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll catch you again on tomorrow's show. Don't forget to check out the monster thread that was out only on Monday, and check that out. It's got all the stories. In fact, let's just pull it up before I go, so you guys can check that out. And I did repost it, I think. Let me go to MBS. Yeah, MBS. And MBS is the promotional lead at the Kryptonite Show. As you guys know, we're running the first professional promotions team on PulseChain because there's a real need for it for projects. So definitely get out to them. But this is the Monster Thread number 6. It's got all the latest news and all the top news from last week. So definitely check that out and share it around. It's a great way of onboarding new people to PulseChain. So definitely share that all around. And of course, got some really cool clip. It's got a bit of everybody in there, and every week someone else new makes it there. So monster, what's it? Monster number 6. So that is the link there for that. All right, thanks, Super Says Wookie. You're most welcome. And that is the Monster Thread 6 there. So check it out, and don't forget to share it around. Perfect thing to help onboard people. That is week number 6. So check it out there. And if you're a team, you want to get yourself seen, hit us up as well and talk about that too. All right, kind of cool. That's it. I think that's it. Let's go to the last page, and we're gonna get rid of that and play out a couple of videos on the end. Take care, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020. 2021, off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats, don't fuck this up, don't lose control of your tokens, don't use leverage, don't get your wallets hacked, just sit with it, be careful, don't get FOMO, do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder, because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale.